You know, countdowns are great and all, but I think my channel needs more variety. But I still want to keep it video game related. Wait! It's so obvious! I'll do a review! I think I have the perfect game! Let's do this.
Wind Waker. I distinctly remember playing this game to no end when I was younger. The bright colors, fantastic storyline, and lovable cast of characters all come together to create one enthralling experience. No matter what mood you're in, I guarantee you that if you pop this game in, you'll be in for one awesome time. However, this game is very atmospheric. The art style and music seem to be what keeps this game, at its core, very light and happy. Without these things added in, the experience would pretty much be ruined. Or so I thought. In April of 2013, Nintendo Direct released a singular screenshot of an HD-ified Windfall Island. My first reaction was a mix of nostalgia and fanboying. It was a dream come true! My most favorite Zelda game released with HD graphics set to come out in the fall. But after I cleaned up all the fanboy juice, I began to worry. While it is true that this was something out of my wildest dreams, something made me feel that with the added graphics, the whole feel of the game would be ruined. I mean, Wind Waker was so enjoyable because of the colorful art style, so would this change ruin the game? Nevertheless, I waited anxiously for it to come out and ended up receiving it for Christmas. After all the festivities had died down, I ran upstairs, fearing for the worst. I loaded up the game on my Wii U, and it all started to come back to me. Firstly, let me say that this is a beautiful game. Yeah, I know. I'll let you recover from the shock. No, but really, with all the praise the PS4 and Xbone get for being able to seamlessly create almost real worlds, I don't think they've even seen this game. Really, if this is the type of thing the Wii U can handle, I can't wait to see the future. An HD Zelda game isn't something that's ever been tried before, and I'm very sad about that. I mean, oh my god! This game looks amazing, both visually and audibly. Oh, and speaking of that, all the music from the original game has been remastered to sound even better. You know how people say that remakes always are worse than the originals? Well, this game takes that expression, kicks its ass, spits in its face, and then throws it down a volcano. Then, just for good measure, it nukes the volcano. The music is also incredibly nostalgic for me, and sometimes I would just sit on my boat, listening to the water laps against it, and the ear candy music. But of course, just because something looks pretty doesn't mean it's enjoyable, because honestly, you can polish up a turd all you want, but then you just have a shiny turd. Luckily, Wind Waker wasn't a turd, so it's mostly kept good. The gameplay is mostly kept the same, with some added tweaks. One of these tweaks is the speed sail, which is good and bad if in different circumstances. Unfortunately, the bad one is if you're just trying to play. You see, the speed sail is incredibly helpful if you're doing a speedrun or doing a Let's Play like I am. Especially the latter. Let's Plays become a dream since most of the game is spent doing more important things. The speed sail is also incredibly helpful if you're trying to do a side quest in the game that involves a time limit, such as the Deku Tree Sprout. However, if you're just trying to play the game and experience it for what it is, then the speed sail totally ruins the process of sailing. It rushes you through it and doesn't give you time to admire the beautiful environments. One of the other changes they made was something big. The Triforce Hunt, widely considered as the most boring and tedious part of the game, has become fun. I can't believe I said that, but it's true. Let's compare them, shall we? In the original Wind Waker, we had sailing around, looking for the charts, then having Tinkle decipher them for 3,980 rupees. No, I didn't say that wrong. You literally had to pay 3,980 fucking rupees. And you had to do that not 5, not 6, not 7, but 8 times. And let me assure you, that shit got boring very fast. Now, the HD version. Well, you can buy one chart from Tinkle called the Incredible Chart that shows you where the Triforce pieces are, and it takes you through the Savage Labyrinth. Now, if I could choose one of them to do, the original Triforce Hunt can burn in hell! Another change that was made, and was in my opinion for the better, was with the item relocation of the Wind Waker itself and the sail. As those of you who played the original probably remember, the Wind Waker and the sail were both treated as items that you could equip. However, this was pretty inconvenient. If you were sailing from one location to another, that meant you could only have one item equipped. And with the creatures of the sea out for your blood, this made it very difficult to get from point A to point B. Well, in the HD version, the sail was relocated to the A button and only appears when you are in your boat. Similarly, the Wind Waker is permanently set to up on the D-pad, ready for use at any moment. These changes made the exploration so much easier and smoother, and overall more fun. And that's really what everyone's looking for, isn't it? Now, up to this point, I've been talking about the improvements over the original game, but let's stop that for a moment, shall we? How about I talk about this holds up as a game? So, as a Zelda game itself, how does this hold up? Well, it's Wind Waker. Need I say more? Wind Waker puts a spin on the MacGuffin formula that the Zelda series seems to be infamous for using. In fact, this game is broken up into much smaller storylines that can all come together to form the battle for the Triforce. The first half of the game is actually spent trying to rescue your sister from the Forsaken Fortress and the evil clutches of Ganondorf. However, to do that, you require the Master Sword. Now, the Master Sword cannot be accessed unless you were in the possession of 3 stones, each passed down from one of the goddesses. And, may I say, these stones look pretty swish, if I do say so myself. And, in the classic formula, you must sail around trying to get each stone. However, there is a 4th temple that you can go through just to get the Master Sword, and I have to say, that one's pretty cool too. Once you complete all 4, you go beneath the waves to pull it out. After you get it, you go and rescue your sister. But if you thought the game would end there, you obviously don't know Zelda. Even though you have the Master Sword, it isn't at its whole power. So you spend the last half of the game refilling the Master Sword up, and then going and stabbing Ganon in his stupid face. I mean, look at it. It's asking for a sword in it! Now, even though the story is fantastic and is very enjoyable all around, one of Zelda's greatest feats has always been an abundance of side quests. Unfortunately, there aren't that many spread around, but the ones that are there are fantastic. I suppose Nintendo went for quality over quantity. Another thing that this series has always been known for is its boss battles, and oh boy, this game delivers. I don't think there's a single battle in here I dislike. They even make Goma, motherfucking Goma, awesome and flashy, and I didn't think that was possible. The only one that even borders on the slightest bit unenjoyable was the battle at the Wind Temple, because it was terrifying. But that's just my attitude. As a battle, it was phenomenal. So, yeah, there's not a single bad battle in here. But wait, I'm forgetting something, aren't I? The one thing that this game is infamous for. What was it again? Oh, that's right, the exploration. Wind Waker's massive overworld is teeming with things to do. You literally can't go anywhere in the Great Sea without finding something interesting. Trust me, I've tried. Every single island in the game is full of character and is fleshed out beyond belief. Even the isles that aren't plot relevant and have a good chance of you never visiting them are breathtaking. Even Greatfish Isle, even the island that has been destroyed and fucked up beyond belief, is interesting. How's that possible? I don't know. I don't care! All I know is that this game is amazing. Something else teeming with character are the actual characters themselves. Holy shit, these characters are awesome. One of the best examples of this is your primary companion from the majority of the game, the King of Red Lions. Holy maple sugar, this guy is a badass. For the entire game, he will always make you laugh with his witty remarks. But he can also be wise, speaking the Hylian language and also having an absurd amount of knowledge about Hyrule. Why? Because he is the king of Hyrule! Dun dun dun! But he's also a badass, as at the end of the game, he sacrifices himself and all of Hyrule for your future. That is so awesome that it makes women's ovaries explode. Except then they grow back when they see his gray hair. Total turn off. Am I right, ladies? However, one of the other best characters in the entirety of the game is the princess herself. In this game, she's taken a different approach, though. She dons the name Tetra and is the leader of a pirate crew. For the first quarter of the game, Tetra treats you as nothing more than a nuisance, like a bug she can't squash. But as the game develops, her and Link's relationship evolves into a friendship that cannot be broken. Even at the final boss, she teams up with you to defeat Ganon. The only downside is that she steals your bow in the process, which is kind of... But there is an ever-important character I'm forgetting. One that does so much damage to you, he becomes a total dick. I am of course talking about that fucking pig! You know, the one that becomes huge and takes away 6 hearts if he damages you? Yeah, I hated that pig! Nah, just kidding. But how does Ganondorf hold up as a villain? Well, I really like the style they took with him. He is still insane, there's absolutely no doubt about that, but he's more of a calming insane. Ganondorf does want to take over Hyrule, but for a new reason. As you probably know, Ganondorf is the king of the Gerudo Desert, and he has remained that throughout the entire series. Well, the Gerudo Desert isn't too much of an appealing place. Except for the sexy desert pirates! That part's okay! Well, he feels that his people have been mistreated, as people are constantly dying over. So, Ganondorf simply wants to control Hyrule so that his people can prosper. This is actually a very interesting approach. It makes you wonder, are you fighting for the right side? Are you the bad guy? Then that opinion is destroyed when you witness him beating the shit out of a small child. Then you realize why you're a good guy. Now, we've touched upon every aspect we possibly could except for one. As a whole, how does this game hold up? Well, take a guess. This has, and I'm pretty sure will always be, my absolute favorite Zelda game. The colors, the gameplay, and that classic Zelda feel are all here, and with an added plus of HD. But even with that, there's still one big reason that I love this game. When I first bought this game, I had just recently learned that my parents were going to get a divorce. I entered a depression that I didn't ever think I was going to recover from. Well, 2 things helped me get a grip on myself. First were, as I touched upon in my top 5 things you probably didn't know about me, was starting to make videos and people watching my YouTube and me myself watching my YouTube career grow. The other was playing this game. Surprise? Well, I am too. To think that something this kid-friendly, okay, from Nintendo would do this. But it's true. No matter what mood I was in, this game would cheer me up. If I was sad, the bright colors would get me back up. If I was feeling happy, I could just sail around enjoying the calming ambience of the game. And if I was feeling angry or angsty, I could just go around slashing the crap out of the goblins. This game sort of saved my life, and I will always appreciate it. Maybe I'm blinded to my history with the game, I don't know, and honestly, I don't care. I will always love this game, and I don't care what anyone else says. Oh, and you can play the game in your jammies on the second quest. And everyone knows jammies are the best!
So, with my nostalgia, love, and overall history with the game, I had no choice but to give The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD a score of 9.5 out of 10. A nearly perfect score. This game has lots of fun, entertainment, and loads of replay value. So, I highly recommend it. You know, good reviews are great and all, but people seem to like the torturous reviews that seem to really get to the reviewer a lot more. What should I review? How about this?